Hey everybody, this is Chad Daniels, and you have landed in the middle of somewhere. Hello, how are you? Thank you for coming back. Across from me, as always, after 14 hours of setting this equipment up, is Cyrus Amundsen.
What's the world record for almost killing yourself and your producer while setting up a show? Is that...
I don't have any idea.
Look, we'll call Guinness.
No.
Call Dr. Guinness.
I don't think...
The
Was
Guinness,
he a doctor?
Was he named? Was it named after him?
I don't think after a beer,
Was there
right?
a Guinness?
Wasn't it a beer?
Here's the thing. I would tell Cody to look up information about who started the Guinness book and find out if it was named after him. But I got to tell you, with the way the setup went, I think he might just accidentally light the computer on fire.
Yeah, there's... I've been downstairs. I watched some football today.
Yep.
I watched a comedy special program.
Mm-hmm.
I watched then some more football.
You had some pizza.
I had some pizza because I don't like watching football without pizza.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I'm not at my house.
Are we just listing everything now?
Well, I'm just trying to, tell you.
You did all that while we tried.
While you guys were setting this up, right? I'm trying to give people a timeline. Like, I did that much shit. And by the way, I didn't eat pizza and then a peanut butter and jelly sandwich because I was still hungry. They were two separate meals.
He ate peanut butter and jelly sandwich and then ate the pizza because he was still hungry.
There was two separate meals.
We are in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Which means also joining us today, we've already mentioned him.
Yeah.
The Cincinnati producer, ladies and gentlemen. I don't think we came up with a nickname yet, but it's Cody.
Yep.
I will tell you, I don't have a nickname off the top of that, but what I do know is he's having, of our producer group,
Okay.
he's having the least sex.
Oh,
and that has nothing. I don't know how much sex Cody's having.
Yeah, but you just know how much sex others are.
How much sex Justin is having on a consistent basis. So unless Cody has got one of those sex diseases, not the transmitted ones, but the I'm addicted to it.
Sure.
Yeah. And
doesn't sound like a disease to me. I'm going to be honest with you.
Can I tell you about? So my dad was just here.
Okay.
So my dad was just here, and
you washed the sheets?
I did not wash the sheets.
Okay.
Jenna maybe washed the sheets, but we feel like you and my dad...
Nope. I'll be washing them.
So he's the sort of... He's on Instagram.
Oh, is he?
Bruce is on Instagram. You can follow him.
Oh, hell yeah.
But let me tell you how I found out Bruce is on Instagram. Because Bruce also has an Apple Watch.
Okay.
And I don't know why I went over a limp hand
here. The mic stand?
You can see us on video. We're on video
if you're watching on YouTube, you know that I've dressed up like my favorite podcast host, Cy.
That's mean.
I have a stocking cap with a puffy, and I have a hoodie on.
And if you can see me on camera right now, you know that I've dressed up like my favorite podcast host because even though I'm thin, I spent some time hating myself in the mirror before I came down.
Whoa, that's true. You put water in your hair and you really got already.
Thank you. It's because it looks like a nest most of the time. What I really did was I trimmed up my neck hair.
I thought you went upstairs to masturbate in a weird way because your beard trimmer sounds like a vibrator.
And it sounds a lot like my vibrator. So
it was really weird when you were shaving your neck hair, all the noises you were making. So I don't still kind of stand by what I said.
Yeah, well, I shave it from the inside. I go up through the bottom.
Yeah, okay.
I rattle them off from the inside. So Bruce is on Instagram, and I know this because Bruce has an Apple Watch. And I know that because he's sitting on the couch watching something, and he goes, "Ugh," and then he covers his wrist. He goes, "Ugh." Like startled and covers it. And I was like, "What's that about?" And he goes, "Well, I don't know what this is, why I keep getting it." And he goes to show me, I don't think he conceptualizes that he's getting notifications from Instagram.
Sure.
Because he gets a lot of, anytime I post something, he gets my stuff.
Okay.
So for him, Instagram is just I think I'm probably the only person he follows, maybe some of his other children. But so for him, it's just like a nonstop feed of his children and grandchildren.
Okay.
So he thinks that anything coming his way is intentional. But he's also old, so he likes memes. Right? Uh-huh. And so he at some point must have seen a meme he liked well on Instagram and accidentally followed that account. And I want to make sure I read this correctly because every time it comes up on his phone, it says the name of the account.
Sure.
The account reads
Mhm.
FuccBoi Nation,
Yes.
spelled FUCC, all one word, FUCCBOI
Yeah.
space nation. So my dad is hanging out with his friends and people he wants to respect him, and then all of a sudden his Apple Watch will go ding, and anyone who looks in big letters sees the words FuccBoi Nation.
Yeah. And then it's just two tits in like a mesh
Yeah.
swimsuit.
Oh,
Yes.
I mean, I think it's just like supposed to be like a funny meme account, but I think, yeah, he's not. I love it a lot. I think it's really, really neat.
I can't wait till it starts happening at church. Does he go to church?
I don't know that he goes to church. I think
Well, we should talk him into going to
church and
then we should send him a bunch of shit from your account.
yes,
Yeah, like
okay,
real
FuccBoi
hard porn
Nation.
stuff.
Oh, like hardcore porn stuff.
Hardcore porn stuff.
Hardcore porn stuff.
I'd like to send you, to tell you something that my mom sent me on Friday night, right before the show.
On this week's episode of What Did Cy and Chad's Parents Text Him?
Here it is, right? Friday at 10:30 p.m.
Okay.
I'm just about to go on stage and I receive a text that says, OMG, I just watched Rudy. Rudy. It's in quotations, so I know this is a movie. You would, all caps, love it. It is right up our alley.
Okay.
We have an alley. So I wrote back, Rudy, the movie about the football player from Notre Dame? And she wrote, yes, that Aston kid. Sean, maybe? Anyway, cry, feel good movie. And I wrote, are we seriously talking about the 1993 movie Rudy? You don't think I've seen this yet. I saw it in the theater. You and Dad had been divorced for 3 years only, and I never wanted to be home still. I've seen every fucking movie from that year.
And how did she respond to that?
She wrote...
Just cry emoji?
No, she wrote, just funny. I thought it would be right up your alley how all you guys rallied for the underdog. Just completely disregarding my entire dissertation. So great.
You know, there is a movie that I think you would just absolutely love.
Yeah.
Okay, now, this is out there. It's a rare pick. I don't know that you've heard of it. Have you heard of Shawshank Redemption?
I never have. Thank you for that.
There's this scene at the end where he escapes, and it's feel good cry emoji, beach emoji.
Chad, my God. Let me tell you about a movie. Have you seen Citizen Kane?
How does Rudy's a pretty popular pop culture one. I didn't know that she was buried under a pile of rocks. Does she?
Yeah.
Is she not? I pegged her for somebody a little more. Is she going to send you like a Sir Mix-a-Lot song next?
She has seen every single Saw movie in a row and just
Of
watched
course.
Rudy.
Classic mom
Just
stuff.
watched Rudy.
How many Saw movies are there?
I don't know, but she said, she told me this. She goes, I was at a friend's house and I noticed that her husband was watching the first Saw movie.
Okay.
And then I saw on the commercial that they were running all of them in a row because there's a new one coming out. So I had to go home to record them. So she drove all the way in,
Yeah.
a 15-minute drive to start recording them and didn't even go back to her friend's house.
I could ask a lot of questions about that, but I want to detour, not just slightly, to if somebody comes up to you, what's more likely? Do you remember this show Singled Out?
Yes, with Chris Hardwick and Jenny McCarthy.
As you know, I don't have a lot of people that are close to me.
Right.
And
You turn off several
the
people.
reasons for this are debatable.
Okay.
So Singled Out, this is Chris Hardwick
Yes.
and Jenny McCarthy,
Right.
pre her becoming one of the most important truth speakers in our society.
Right. This was fresh off of her stint at Playboy.
Yes, she had gotten the Jenny McCarthy trajectory, which I admire, and it's one that I have fashioned myself after. It's difficult because of the gender gap.
Yeah.
But get naked, get game show, become truth teller, marry a fast food icon. And so those, I don't know. Do they still have Playgirl?
I don't know.
Am I too old to show my dick on Playgirl? Because I'm still at step 1. I think I could get the game show. I think that's what's in. That's within reach.
Yeah,
So
I'd say
dick
that.
on Playgirl. Cody, look up if Playgirl's still a thing. Dick on Playgirl, and then I host something, some shitty game show, and then I've got a lot to say about the Egyptian pyramids and how old I think they actually are.
Don't start. You're going to get canceled.
I have a lot to say about, was it a power station perhaps? Is there some ancient lost technology? Have I been watching bullshit on YouTube for a really long time? Perhaps. But then...
Oh, no.
Then I marry somebody from the Wendy's factory.
Well, why not Wendy? Why not just pick the person?
I don't think Wendy's around. Who is Wendy's named after? Because Dave Thomas, did he have a daughter named Wendy?
He adopted a daughter. Her name was Wendy, and then she became Carrot Top.
Oh, well, that tracks. So how it works on Singled Out is they put 100 of the opposite gender. They should bring back, here's what I'll host, Gay Singled Out. I would like to host.
Hey, Cody, I'm going to head out. Do you need anything? I think he's got this. Are we good?
I would like to host a more diverse. That's my pitch, MTV. You guys.
Are you looking into the. Yeah. You're disgusting.
Listen here, MTV. You guys didn't want me on Real World. You didn't want me on Road Rules. Now, was I too young for those shows? Perhaps. But the audition tapes were fucking mint. That's what we said back then. They were mint. You told me to carry this episode.
I know I did,
is what
but
you
this
get.
is too much.
This is what you get.
I didn't know you auditioned for those shows.
I did send tapes in when I wasn't of legal age.
Okay.
For sure. I have sent in 4 Real World auditions and 4 Road Rules auditions in my life, all on actual VHS tape.
Sure, yeah. That's when it was.
So, and anyway, so I think I'd be great at Gay Singled Out. That's neither here nor there. But how Singled Out, straight, gay, or other works is you put all the candidates up on a top ledge, and there's a staircase that goes down.
Right.
And you ask them a question like, hey, I think it was pretty wild where it was like, do you have big titties or little titties? They use cute words.
And wasn't it a questionnaire that you filled out before, so you couldn't change your answer?
Yeah.
And then they got to ask you, and then it was based on the person that was going to choose. There's one person versus like 100.
And you're looking the other way.
Yeah.
You're turning the other way.
Yeah. And then when he asked a question, or the people would have to be truthful about their answer that they've already filled out. Mm-hmm. And then if they didn't match the one person, they had to walk down the stairs and then pass them, right?
Yep. And then he'd be like, "Oh, you're so hot. I screwed up."
Yeah. Can I change my answer? Every episode is like, "Can I change my answer?"
Oh, put the girl that has that butt back. That sort of stuff. Right. This has been Cy and Chad explain a show that you already knew how it works. Worked. And so, yes. Fun fact. Do you remember the show Salute Your Shorts on Nickelodeon?
I sure don't.
So there was a show on Nickelodeon called Salute Your Shorts. And you're missing out a lot. If you're not watching the video, you're missing out on points and finger guns and all sorts of fun.
Yeah, get over on YouTube.
Hop over on YouTube. Join the 800 other people who've made the transition over.
Up. Let's get to a sweet grand.
Listen to me. There was a character on that show, an overweight fella by the name of Donkey Lips. And
Donkey Lips. Do you know this, Cody? No. Okay, because I saw your...
Cody
has long hair, and when he moves, it's tucked behind his ear, and some of it flaps around. Yeah. And so I can't tell what head motion he's making necessarily.
And this was I need somebody more Joel age to say this to, because I'm saying it to a much younger person and a much older person. And so it's not, if I wanted any of it to land with you two, I'd have been like, Cody, like Hey Arnold or Rugrats. And to Chad, I'd been like, Chad, the Jetsons.
Hogan's Heroes. Okay.
Now, Salute Your Shorts actually wasn't a cartoon, so I didn't, Hogan's Heroes, that's a good one.
Thank you.
But Donkey Lips was just on an episode of Singled Out.
Okay.
And I remember as a kid being like,
okay.
I was like, oh God, is this a celebrity episode of Singled Out? Nope. The guy who played Donkey Lips just fucking was on Singled Out, which is great. So that, and then they ask you a question, and it's veiled grossness. Like, it's like, tomatoes or cherries? And it's about your
course.
tits, right? And then you answer all these questions until there's only like a few of them left and whatever. This was a long way to go that, like, to tell you that is how I meet people. They have to go down the singled out staircase
That makes sense.
for them to make it to the point where I'm like, I think I want to spend some actual time with you.
So there's a long vetting process.
Yeah, very long, very dumb,
Do you think that you could have said that?
very judgmental. Well, maybe if you hadn't spent all your time in the kitchen, hope you got a bunch of stories. I'm over
That's true.
here trying to make cookies out of dog shit.
I have seen children making cookies out of dog shit. That's true. In a yard, patting them down, and you're like, what are you doing? And like, making cookies, but not in a sandbox with dog shit. That's wild that you said that.
Thank
It sent
you.
me right back to that place.
I have no idea what this was about. I was going
wasn't about
somewhere with this,
anything.
and there was actually no. There
You
was
said you don't have a lot of friends.
Yeah, but I don't even remember what was before that.
Oh, who cares?
But it was the only thing I actually wanted to say, and I put all this fluff in there,
Yeah.
and now here we are. So
I just wanted to
anyway.
say thank you guys for listening to our last episode. This is pretty great. Can I tell you what happened to me at the airport? And I know I have a lot of airport stories, but it's because that's where I'm at. First of all,
Yeah, I mean, you're at a lot of places.
I got to meet one of the kids in the hall.
Yes, you did.
I got to meet Kevin McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because normally I don't care about stuff, but I watched Kids in the Hall a lot.
I remember.
At my friend Adam's.
I remember.
Let me finish.
But I'll lose it. You know I'll lose it.
Write it down.
I can't write it down. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I'm not going.
And that is how the show ends, folks. Play the ukulele. Listen to me.
Yeah.
It was just, I remember it was, I think, a good question. If you're doing my singled out, I think a good question on the whether or not, like, if there's a bunch of people and the question is, are you, because you were talking about Saw,
Right.
what are you more likely to let climb down the singled out stairs? Somebody who's a fasty, a Fast and Furious person,
Okay.
or a Sawhead? Which one of those franchises
Oh my God.
do you have to be a deep dive? Like, who's climbing closer to Chad on the...
I will tell you beforehand, I would have kicked off the person that was a sawhead because I don't need someone that is like into horror
Yeah.
walking around my house when I'm sleeping.
Sure.
But after going to the Minnesota Vikings game and hearing, it was a mistake, bro, from a white mouth, I can't. It's Fast and Furious is eliminated
Sure.
immediately.
Yeah, Vin Diesel has... He's poisoned our culture. Go ahead. Now let's get back to Kevin McDonald.
Oh, it's too late for that. So, what do you want to talk about?
I got nothing. You're at the airport.
Yes, I'm at the airport, and Kelsey and I are at the airport at the same time.
Okay.
We're in the F wing. I drop her
For
off.
FuccBoi Nation.
No, that's the P wing. I drop her off at F4, and then she's boarding, so I'm leaving. But as soon as I leave, I know that I have to get to the right side of the hallway. I have to cross the hallway so I can be on the right side where traffic is going where I need to go.
Okay.
But when I get there, there is a man coming towards me, and there are people coming towards me on the whole thing. It was like, the broom that is the perfect size for a bowling alley?
Like for the gutters?
Yeah, like they just go, it's the one that they use to get all the dust off of it.
Oh, the machine that's like...
Yeah,
it's
and
just,
it's like, it's perfect.
Yeah.
This is exactly what these 5 people were. They were there was no room to get by them on any side. And so I go in front of the one guy, and he goes, really? And I go, where do you want me to go, man? Look. I go, you guys are walking at me like... Red Rover, fuck it, we're all coming over. Thinking that would be a little funny to him. It's not. And so he's just, and I go, no. And he goes, never mind. I go, no, I need to know. Just in case this happens to me again, where do you want me to go? And he goes, it's fine. I go, it's not fine. I need you to tell me where you want me to go. Do you want me to shimmy on a wall? Do you want me to get down and crawl underneath things? Where do you want me to go? And he's just like, dude, I'm sorry.
There we go. You could have
That's
said that the
all
first time.
That's all I wanted.
Could have said it the first
That's
time.
all I wanted.
I love it.
Yeah, I love it too.
Why don't bring that, like, I think when you realize you've faux pod, which you and I are very familiar with that,
Oh God, are we ever?
just own it and throw your apology out, because every once in a while you're going to run into a lunatic like one of us, and
Yeah.
we're not going to stop.
Yeah, I mean, I do that a lot. I will be in the car and I will just, I'll mess up. Like I'll be turning or whatever, and I'll hear a horn, and I'm the one that messed up,
Yeah.
and I'll immediately roll my window down.
Say thought.
I
Yeah.
give the hand out. I don't care if it's freezing. Hand out, no glove, so they know it's a real hand, and let them know that I messed up. I'm not asking for a ton of stuff.
Sure.
I'm just asking for when you're walking and there's no possible way. It's like you're the bus during a marathon, right? You're just picking people up,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, it's like the cops when the president's in town and they have to sweep the highway. They go back and forth to stop traffic. That's what it was like, except coming at you.
Have you ever been around when the president's in town? A president?
Yeah, I was in Los Angeles.
I was
That
in
took
Los
a while.
Angeles too.
That took a while.
And it was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I did. It was my first TV appearance ever. I was doing, and this will tell you how old I am.
Johnny Carson in his second year on the air. Who was the guy before him?
That's not fair.
Who was the guy before him? What was his name?
I can't remember. Ed Sullivan. Ed Sullivan.
You were on the Ed Sullivan
I was on the Ed
show.
Sullivan show. I was actually the
Chad-
same day as the Beatles.
Yeah, well, no, Chad, it's Elvis when he did his hips.
Yeah.
You did the same thing, but it was with tits.
I was actually behind Elvis, swinging his hips with my hands.
Yeah.
I did the Late Late Show with Craig Ferguson.
Yes.
I said that I wanted to be on TV.
Kilborn. You just said
Craig
Fergie.
Kilborn. Well, I did it with
You've
Craig
done it with
Ferguson
both
too.
of them.
I've done it with all of people.
Yep.
But I did it with Craig. Kilborn was my first one. And it was interesting. So I said, I want to be on TV by the time I'm 30. This was February of my 29th year, and I turn March 2nd is my birthday. So it was like right before my 30th birthday. So it was awesome. Except I went running in Venice Beach with Scott Derringer and Jamie Lissow, and we went running. And I'm like, all right, we need to go back because I have to be at Ian Bagg's place because that's where the car's coming to get me.
Okay.
And then there was a fucking president, and we just sat on the highway like, what's going on? And the cops are walking around, not even in their cars, so we knew it was going to be a long time. And they're like, hey, just so you know, the president's here, so it's going to be a while. And I'm like, oh no, I'm going to miss my debut television thing. Finally got there. The car had been waiting for a half hour. I didn't even shower after my run. I did my first TV appearance, sweaty from running, just changed clothes. I opened with a grammar bit.
Yes, the Chad Daniels, Jack Daniels.
Yep,
bit.
and maybe I've told this a bunch of times, but there was a Asian school that was traveling through America that got to go to this show and had no idea what I was talking about. It was awesome. So it just sat there like a turd.
Do you think in the history of television appearances, like, what other comics do you know? I suppose if you're Seinfeld or something where you've been on 1,000 times, you probably have a few stories. But for the amount of times you've been on,
Yeah.
there are some like the fact that you followed a dog that paints.
Do we have talked about this?
I'm quite certain we have,
Okay.
but I mean, I can talk about it. It's kind of like your tattoos. I can talk about it every single episode.
Yeah, I mean, there was a dog that scratched cellophane.
Mm-hmm.
And checks used to be 2 checks where you'd write on one and then there was a copy.
Carbon paper.
Yeah. So it was like
Who's
cellophane.
educated now?
And so I followed that, and then I followed a deaf snowboarder.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, 8 straight minutes of literal silence because it was a lot of signing, and then Conan going, oh, really? Well, tell me about this other thing. And then a 15-second answer on that. It was crazy. And then they're like, all right, we got some comedy. We'll be right back. And people were like, what?
Okay, guys, I hope you like the dog and the deaf snowboarder. Now we're going to shoot a chimp in the head in front of the audience, and then Chad's going to go up. We're going to execute a monkey, but don't worry, we put a human wig and sport coat on him, so it's extra sad.
Oh, my God.
Just so you know, he can pitch. He can
was
pitch.
the funniest thing. like every single time it was very funny when that kind of stuff happened.
I had a speaking of not being able to not say, just keep going.
Okay.
So you got here this morning.
Yep.
I went to the sauna.
Yeah.
Take me a man bath. And I was in the sauna, and an older gentleman, 50s, 60s-ish, came in.
Okay.
And there was 2 other people in there with me. So this wasn't just me overreacting. Everybody reacted the same way I did.
Were they plugged in?
He came in.
Conga?
And he had a stack of newspaper clippings.
Okay.
Clippings. Like a newspaper article.
Oh.
But
Clipped out.
he cut the square out of the story, and he had a whole bunch of those.
Like he's going to scrapbook.
Like he's trying
Yeah.
to solve a crime, or these are trinkets of the, like, and this is the story they wrote about when I killed Sheila.
Yeah, exactly.
In Milford. And so
You're just like he didn't come in with a bunch of clippings of letters from different magazines to write a ransom note.
I was like, I literally said to him, I goes, what's with the clippings? And he goes, I just, I like to read in the sauna. No. How you can bring a whole newspaper. They were so old. There was something going on. I couldn't get to the bottom of it. I pestered him. The other guys kept, when they saw me ask the first question, they were like, keep asking him. Where you're like, you do it. You keep going. You be the bad guy. But we're all very, very curious. So I tell you what, as much as he likes newspaper clippings, he also likes not wearing a towel under his naked butthole. So
Does he sit right on the wood?
Yeah, if you're watching, that's not how it works at the sauna, buddy. You have to, put a towel in between your bare butthole, no matter how many crimes you've solved in the thinking sauna.
Yeah, I was in a sauna once. All these old guys just, when you pour a pancake, their sack, that's how when they sat down, it just spread out like that. And then their butt cheeks hit after that. I don't know how they're not sitting on their own balls. And it is bare asshole to cedar wood. And so you're in there and you're like, oh no, this is what happens all the time that I don't know. And so the next time I went in there, it was full fucking Dexter. I brought every towel that they had in the YMCA and spread it out. I tried to put it in the crease of the cedar on the wall so it would stay up. It was insane. That sucks. I'm not a germaphobe, but square, sweaty butthole to cedar, that's a pass.
I'd like to talk about one other thing from the gym that I go to, but then I need you to afterwards talk about the thing that you were talking about before the show, so it cushions what I'm talking about. I need to soften what I'm about to go through.
Yes, of course I will.
So there is an older Japanese man that comes to the place where I work out.
Okay.
I definitely don't work out. That comes to the place where I sit in the sauna with people who have recently worked out. Uh-huh. He looks like and I haven't seen a lot of Clint Eastwood movies. Excuse me, John Wayne movies. Neither. I haven't seen any of either. I've seen the one where Clint Eastwood plays a cop and he's got a monkey partner. And fun fact, that's the guy they shot on Conan before Chad performed.
Left turn, Clyde.
So this man looks like he would have been. John Wayne was like, we need a Japanese villain for my next film. That's how.
What? Why did he have an Asian accent when he said that?
I didn't do it with an Asian accent.
Not you, the person
Fuck
you're
you, Cody.
He did, right?
Don't you fucking side with him.
So sometimes when he starts a Southern accent, he'll go, and then I saw this Southern guy, and he was like, and you started a little bit early.
Sure, okay. Anyway, so John Wayne was like, listen to me. Who was that? That was like Asian Al Pacino.
I think, but I do think that's more Japanese. So that to me, sounds
Who
like
is this guy?
Soto from Karate Kid 2.
I need to get through this,
so
Justin can hurry up and cut it.
Yeah, okay.
But he has a bowl cut, like a very straight bowl cut, and it's like red hair. He's got very red hair, and he walks when he comes into the sauna. It's just this like plodding, and he's got to be 60 or something like that. Okay. And he and I have a very.
Are you sure this was not the orangutan from the Clint Eastwood movie? Because the way you're moving your body and saying he has a bowl cut with red hair, I mean, that's the exact description.
See, Chad isn't up on the Japanese culture. Everybody makes me look like a bigot, But there are plenty of Japanese people with red hair,
I'm not
especially in
saying
Clint
there
Eastwood
aren't,
movies.
but I'm saying all the orangutans have red hair.
So he and I have a very nice understanding. We wind up in the sauna together a lot, and we ain't going to talk.
Okay.
We look at each other. We give each other a nod.
Oh, of course you do.
And
Probably
that's-
a bow.
I
you
don't
fucking
bow.
racist.
Don't do that. I don't bow. I don't bow. If he bows to me, I will bow back.
I think that is actually legit.
I think that's how it works. But
But I have a question. When you guys start nodding, are you looking for the depth in his nod to go, well, fuck, did that go from a nod to a bow?
yeah.
Okay.
If he nods, here's what I'm going to tell you. It's one of these. But if he does one of these,
Yeah.
oh, you better believe I'm going to,
Yeah.
and I'm going down.
I don't know that you need to do the Karate Kid like this.
I absolutely am doing. If a Japanese guy bows to you and you don't do this,
No, I think
also
you,
my shoulders don't do that well.
I think you bow, but
I look like a guy who like hurt his hand but still needs to clap at his daughter's recital.
yeah, you've lost the function of your fingers, and you're just like, okay, go for it.
So let's do worst thing, best thing.
Okay,
So let's do the worst thing he does, and then let's do the best thing he does.
I like closing on the best thing.
So the worst thing he does is he gets in the sauna, he gets all sweated up,
Huh?
and then he just straights to the pool. He just goes straight.
Yeah,
He doesn't shower.
No shower.
Off.
Okay.
No,
I know
no.
there's chlorine, but come on, man. We're not trying to make this a saltwater pool.
And I'm going to tell you, it's not a small amount of sweat.
Of course it isn't.
It's
You're
an
in a sauna.
incredibly large amount of sweat. The best thing he does is he gets in the pool, and his pool activity is, because it's the warm water pool, it's a therapy pool.
Okay.
He does exaggerated movements
Okay.
like this, walking, and I'm so sorry, he goes,
Well, yeah. Maybe he's
for
doing
like 20 minutes straight.
That
And
is
let me tell
fucking
you
awesome.
something. Kudos to the people of the workout center. I've never seen anyone be like, should we talk about it? Should we make fun of it? Like everybody's been really chill about it, and I am in. I'll go out to the pool when he's doing that. I'm just waiting for somebody to give me the side eye where they're
Sure.
like, what the fuck is this? So I can be like, it's called being a person, you fucking racist. Like
No,
I
I don't
want to
think you need to go
go.
racist,
I
but-
want to go super pool woke on these people.
Here's what I think. I think you take that guy out of the pool and you put him in one of those gis.
What's a gi?
A gi is like the robe that people wear at karate class.
Okay. A gi is also
Kung Fu?
clarified butter.
Okay. Well, anyways, I'm talking about this kind of gi.
Yeah.
And then if he was doing that motion that you're saying, like a punch motion.
And do the noise. No, it's more. No, it's like Running Man. He's like cutting through the water.
Well, to me, that's like the same. It's almost like a Tai Chi type movement.
It is Tai Chi, but he's moving.
Okay. But I think
You
take,
do the noise.
You
now.
take him.
So we're both on camera doing
no,
the
thank
noise.
you. But you take him out of the water. Also, Cody, can you look up orangutan mating call? Because we might be on to something.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how orangutans mate. I'll tell you who might. Justin, with all the fucking sex he's having. He
That's
might have
true.
run through the human.
that's true. He might
and
actually
worked
have
his
to
way.
know
Speaking of my dad and memes, I saw a really, as much as I don't like the internet
that. Okay.
and how it's eroded our society, then every once in a while you see a meme and you're like, well, never mind. This is the greatest thing in the world. It was a picture of Tarzan kissing Jane, and the comment underneath it was just like, y'all think that Tarzan was a virgin when he met Jane? Or was he just out there slapping monkey cheeks?
It's a great question because when you're raised
Yeah.
in the monkey world
Yeah.
and that's all you got, I mean, who knows?
There's a lot of sexual questions you could pose in the Disney universe.
Ooh, so many.
So
Princess-
anyway,
Princess Jasmine?
but let's move on to the next subject. But could you do your version of what it sounds like when he walks through the water?
No, thank you. But I will tell you this.
Okay.
One time, do you remember Karate Kid when they're at the beach and then they go what?
I was just gonna say, Mike. I told Mike Cronin about that story, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, but could you do it more stereotypically racist, so I can enjoy that material?"
You see what's happening here? He's always putting it on someone else.
Yeah, that's what I do.
Yeah. No, oh, trust me. I know.
You should have heard Chad. By the way, speaking of putting it on someone else, I always get vilified in these shows. And if you guys could have heard Chad doing his Jamaican impression before the show started, it would have been, you'd have been like, that's crazy.
Cool. Can I just
And you'd have probably said, that's crazy,
Can I get a not true? Can I get a not true over there?
Oh, look at that! Looks like
fucked up.
Daddy and producer went through war setting the episode up today, and he doesn't want to fucking rat me out.
No, I just think that I pay Brandon and you pay him, so
Well,
he knows who butters his bread.
well, you give him $5 and he'll be in your pocket moving forward.
So there was one time in Karate Kid, there is a scene where they're at the beach, and then there are these two old white guys in like, maybe it's camo, but they're for sure in like a puffy vest, and they're drinking beer, and all the empty beer bottles are on Pat Morita. That's his real name. But he is Mr. Miyagi, and they're on his truck. And so he says, "Can you please move these bottles?" And they go, "I don't think so." And they say some racist shit. They say some stuff. And then Mr. Miyagi goes, and then he karate chops all the tops off the bottles. And then they get in the car, and Daniel LaRusso goes, "How did you do that?" And Mr. Miyagi goes, "Don't know. First time." Right? That's what he says.
Oh.
That's exactly how he says it.
Okay.
And so one time I was somewhere and I didn't know what was going on. And they go, "Why do you think this is happening?" And I said, "Don't know. First time." And you would have thought I fucking invented whiteness. It was the craziest shit in the whole world. And they said, "That's disgusting, but not more disgusting as someone making fun of a Japanese man in a pool and mocking
That
the
couldn't have
noises."
been what
That's
they
true.
said.
And then they
They
said,
couldn't
"We're
have
getting
said
back
that.
in our time machine and we're going to go help with some other stuff."
They couldn't have said that. Let me. Who got on you for saying that?
A woman that invented a time machine.
So I'm gonna leave this one up to the winds. I'm not gonna give real names here because I don't want to have to get in a fight later. But I have a sibling who's older than you.
Sure.
And,
Jess. Okay.
And so maybe it could be any of them.
Greg.
I tell you what, the rest of them are gonna rat this one out the moment that I tell this
Well,
story.
it's just not fair because you have 43 older brothers and sisters.
Don't make this about my family. We're doing the best we can
Oh yeah, I know.
with
I
the
mean, you guys are all
situation
grown.
we've been given.
That's fine. You've been given a great situation.
Oh,
and
yeah.
now, and now
I'm Chad.
your dad has turned to memes
I think
because
they're
he's in such a
hillbillies.
confusing, disgusting family. Keep going.
So, I tell you what, you have that many kids, you're certainly a part of FuccBoi Nation.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're not sending it to. It's not an alert. They're sending it to him for approval. He runs
he's the leader.
He
Yeah.
runs the page.
He's the king of FuccBoi
Yeah.
Nation. He's like, well, let's put that one out. A little untimely, given what's going on in the Middle East, but I'm going to let that one fly. Do you want to talk about that?
Nope. Go ahead.
So, I don't know what I was going to say. Let's talk about let's talk about you body shaming people.
It's not body shaming people, but I just listen. This is coming from my heart.
Mm-hmm.
It is coming to people to help them.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, and this is maybe going to get me in trouble with some people, but I believe that
Zoom in on him, Cody. Can I get a zoom?
If you have lost weight during and you've had this weight loss journey, and you've made some positive changes in your life, and you feel great about it, and your family feels better, and your life it feels like it is the best it's ever been.
Mm-hmm.
My suggestion, and I don't know, but my suggestion is shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up about it. Because there's a 95% chance it's all going away. Because fucking pizza's good and ice cream is good. And you're not going to be that person forever. So all you do is look like a shithead. Mm-hmm. I follow those people. Mm-hmm. It's on my Instagram. For some reason, it is like weight loss journey. They go suggested, right? Mm-hmm. And it will say, "Oh my God, it's been 6 months. I've been doing keto." Well, keto doesn't last. I'm just going to tell you that.
Sure. Keto's not a big keto guy.
They're the only people I follow on a suggestion because I want to see what happens. Mm-hmm. Because every single time, not every,
It's kind of like you want to see if they, like on Hoarders, people are curious, like, what's this place look like in 6 months?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's like a where are they now? And I want to do that because we talked about this a while ago. I got down to 192 and I'm like 197, 198. I'm back on my way to 200. And we talked about it because we have this, but I didn't go on Facebook and give my whole like fucking cleanse and my whole, I knew I was going to be back.
I think a lot of us knew you were going to be back.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
We were rooting for you. Here's the thing. I think people are rooting for you on the way down and on the way back up.
I think so, too.
I think the worst case scenario is if you stay in that 205, the 198 to 209 range. That's worst case scenario. Right? I think you got to go one of two ways.
And I know which way I'm going.
Either you are this toit, put together man,
not interested
at your ripe old age, or you look like that fucking blueberry girl in Willy Wonka, and we start rolling you into gigs,
and I don't mind
you
that.
Have to do your show from a rascal. That's what I want.
No. You don't have to. You can roll me. I don't need a rascal. I am a wheel. I've become a wheel.
Yeah, I suppose I didn't need to put those two together.
And that's what I would like to do because...
How do you think you would get fat? Like, and I mean, I know you think you're fat.
I don't think I'm fat. I think I'm 197.
So do you think like if we put 100 pounds on you?
Yeah.
Because there's a bunch of different sorts of like, I know how I would get fat.
Okay.
I know that you can, and you've seen this with how skinny I am. The way my bird bones are shaped, I've got really wide hips for a man. I got childbirth and hips. And I think
I've tried to put a baby in you when you were sleeping. You know that. Through your mouth.
I just think I would middle up. I think I'd have saddlebags. I think I'd have a big fat ass. And I think I'd have shoulders that you'd be like, is the fat pulling all the muscle out of your shoulder via gravity? I think I'd be a real, when you see in the 90s.
I don't know how you'd get fat.
One of those fat suits. I would get weird fat. I think I'd be skinny head, skinny neck, skinny shoulders. Weird.
Melted candle?
Yes, melted candle. I think I'd get melted candle.
Yep.
How do you think you would get fat? Because
I would get fat. Here's what I do. I would for sure still lift weights while getting fat.
That's what I'm talking about. So you look like a fucking guy who played baseball in college and then fell apart.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I would look like a guy who
looked like every man in Chicago.
The same amount of beer when he was in college, but now that he's done exercising and have any sort of metabolism.
Yeah.
Where your biceps are somehow resting on your lats when you walk.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Where it's like you have loafers.
Yeah.
Because you can't tie your shoes.
Can't tie your shoes.
That kind of shit. That's how I would get fat.
And I think I can see you as a sort of fat guy where like if you were on my couch asleep downstairs and Ethan and I were worried about it, to get to the pulse, I think I'd have to get my fingers in there and then Ethan would have to press on my arms to get through.
Yeah. You'd have to, pretending a crocodile has a baby in its mouth, you would have to pry my neck rolls open like that and then touch.
Get your fingers in there. Yeah.
Then that's what I would like to do.
I'm going to tell you that what we're going to do before we get that pulse is we're going to clean that area out.
I think so too. And
we're not just going to stick our fingers in there and see what's down there.
Well, yeah, you might want to just grab, in case there's a
we
fork.
Pull the flaps back and there's just an old Japanese man.
I would love that a lot.
How'd you get in here? I normally see you in the sauna.
That's where I would keep him.
What are you doing down here? He's like, it's a worm.
See, I don't know about that. What do you think?
Let's cut that.
No. We're not cutting it. No.
We're going to cut it.
No, we're not. It's stupid. That's how I would get fat. But I'm going to tell you what. I'd look young because the fat would push my wrinkles out of my face. And people would be like, I know you're getting fatter, but are you getting younger?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I love it. I think...
Be like, hey, oh my God, you guys, this 28-year-old man had a heart attack.
So what you're saying is you think you would get movie fat suit fat. Where it's like, well...
If I got fat... Yeah, here's the thing. I don't have 2 beers at dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a cookie for dessert.
Mm-hmm.
I have a fucking... At least a pint of ice cream with half a brownie pan in a... You know how I do things.
Yeah. When it unravels...
I'm just... listen.
If there's a string and you pull it...
I'm all or none.
Sweater's gone, baby.
I don't want a little bit of anything.
No.
So if I'm not going to sit around at 250, fucking peace out. See you at $4.
What's the weight that you have to get to? What weight do you think you have to get to where you're like, I'm
Kelsey
not
would
coming
leave me?
back?
I asked her and she wouldn't tell me, which means there is one.
There is for sure one. There's one.
I said, what's
I
the
think
number?
it's-
And she said, I don't want to have this conversation. I go, that means there's a number.
But I think that's because if you get to that point, it would be more about the way you are approaching life than the weight itself.
Don't take her side. This is supposed to be funny. The real thing is, that's what she
I
said.
think that was great.
Well, it's exactly right. I mean, she said it would be the fear that you're no longer willing to take care. You don't love yourself. I would be worried about that.
That's such an excellent way to say, don't be a fatty or I won't love you.
Exactly.
That's very well.
You know that book, What to
Very
Expect When
well
You're Expecting?
worded,
I suppose you might. But there's a book called What to Say to Fat People When They Don't Know They're Fat. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that's in there. It's like, hey, I just want you to respect you.
The third chapter is just titled, Hey, Chad.
Whoa. I'm 197.
I know, but you put it on the table for me to pick it back up.
I know.
What's the weight that you get to where you go? Because I know you. I know how motivated you are. So I think 210, you're like, I got to get back. 220, I got to get back. 240, I got to get back. What number do you see on the scale where you're like, fuck it, pizza me, put a brownie on the pizza and somebody mash it into my head?
You mean to go big?
Yeah, at what point do you start rolling up a pizza into a burrito?
This is weird, but I think I'm going to go the other way.
Okay.
Right? So 185, it's not like I'm this fat, I can get as fat as I want now.
Mm-hmm.
It's I'm 185, let's fucking dance, baby.
Okay.
It's that kind of attitude.
And then before you know it, yeah.
I'm back to 197. I won't ever be 200 pounds again. I'm just going to tell you that.
Did you see ever?
Ever.
You're so close. You shouldn't say that because that seems ominous. Like,
yeah, but you can't.
It's like guys are like, you won't take me back to prison. You're like, well, there's only two ways this ends.
Well, right. When I'm 199, suicide by cop. Duh. I mean, but I really won't be 200 pounds again. I have no desire to do it. And I feel way better when I don't have sugar. Like I brought a whole thing of cookies for Jenna, thinking she could have them. She can't. So they're sitting here. Mm-hmm. And, before, they'd be gone before. But
do you think if I can... So before the show, I gave you a special cookie, like a
marijuana.
A healthy cookie.
Yeah.
I gave you one that was made with maple syrup.
Right.
And cassava flour and a bunch of other things that everyone listening to home is like, but pretty good.
Have you ever been running on the beach and tripped and then got sand in your mouth?
Come on, don't do this. You liked the cookie. You thought it was a good...
It
wasn't fine. It's a pretty good cookie.
I'm going to tell you something. It tastes to me like an unsweetened brownie is what it tastes like.
See, but this is what he does, Cody. And I don't want to turn this into therapy.
I told you it was fine.
You didn't say fine. You built me up to bring me on the show.
I bent a little bit off. I bent a little bit off.
You bent a little bit off.
And then I ate it.
Yeah.
And then I left the rest of it on the table. Because.
I hope you weigh 290 pounds by the end of this year.
No chance, man.
I don't hope that.
I think you kind of do.
No, I mean, kind of like Mac on Always Sunny. If I knew you were going to get right back the other way, like if we could have a season
amazing.
If we could have a season of Fat Chad, I would love a season of Fat Chad.
You've had 4 seasons of Fat Chad.
I would love a full season of like really let it go, Fat Chad.
No, how about I get to be just normal, walking around?
I would also love
where I can button my fucking pants.
I would also love a season of incredibly physically fit Chad. I'm not just wanting to.
Do you know that I got to a point when I was on the road that I had to put my, I had to get the 2 chairs in a hotel room and put my shirts over them to stretch them out before a show. And I'd have to like pull the chairs apart and let them sit for a little bit and pull it like when Jean-Claude Van Damme was trying to learn how to do the splits. He had to like do it little by little. I had to pull the chairs apart.
Is that true about Jean-Claude Van Damme?
And so then to like pull my fucking shirt apart, that is crazy. Because I won't go and buy.
Oh, I know. You know how I know this? You know how I know this, Cody? Because you see this shirt I'm wearing? Tune into our YouTube channel. You see this hooded sweatshirt I'm wearing
Come
here?
on, son.
I've made matching hooded sweatshirts for Chad and I for Christmas, and I gave it to him. And you know how often he's worn it?
Several. Because it's at the cabin.
0 times.
It's my cabin hoodie.
My presence.
Well, that's because it doesn't fit me. It's too big.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Like I think you think nothing fits you, but I think almost everything fits you.
You gave me an extra large and it's too big.
Oh, well, then stop telling me that you're going to balloon up. I'm trying to be thoughtful. It's like when you
what?
don't
I'll
buy
wear it
an
again on my
eighth
way
grade.
up. I'll wear it again on my way up.
Thank you. Thank you. You don't buy an eighth grader a sweatshirt for eighth grade. You buy him a sweatshirt for ninth grade.
Right. You don't buy a newborn, like a newborn onesie. You get them a 3-month onesie, so then they can grow into it.
To the onesie.
Or if they're like in the 95th percentile, then they already fit in it.
Both of those are very relevant examples.
I know.
Thank you. We're both just coming up with examples.
It feels good.
Both of us.
Both of us are.
Thank you.
Mine was
No?
pretty good.
So I think that's all I have for you today.
I got to tell you about Kevin McDonald.
Okay.
So Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall. If you don't know what Kids in the Hall is, they are a Canadian sketch group. They were on HBO, and they destroyed my friend Adam and I. I mean, we loved them so much growing up. And he had HBO. We didn't have it. So I'd go to his place and we watch it. And there is a sketch called Crush Your Head, where they hold up their forefinger and their thumb, and then someone from they put it up to one eye, they shut one eye, and they put it up to their open eye, and then they go around the room crushing people's heads. It's so dumb, but it is so goddamn funny when they do it. And so he walked by, and I go, "I'm crushing your head." And I crushed his head, and he goes, "Oh," he put his hands together like in prayer, and he goes, "Oh, that is so nice of you." And I'm like, "Can I get a picture?" And then I did what people do all the time, where they do a selfie and they're going to use the side buttons. But instead of taking the picture, I shut my phone off.
Attaboy.
And so then I was like, "Oh man, can I try that again?" And he's like, "No problem." And he goes back into prayer. He was the nicest dude. And I can't believe little, like, 14-year-old Chad Daniels CD White was losing his shit getting to crush one of the heads of a Kids in the Hall member. It was insane.
Isn't that the best when you meet somebody that you've admired and they're the best?
Yeah, I mean, he really was a sweet, gentle soul.
Before we close the show, let's take it over to the less sexual producer corner. Cody, did you get an answer on Playgirl?
Playgirl is still active.
Playgirl is still active.
Still active.
So if you're an old lady trying to flop your beaver, you got to have the internet. You can't get it delivered. And is that full dick?
Full dick.
I think so. Do we know if they're going to have like a disease edition or anything?
Here's a question for you. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You are the cover.
Thank you.
And I hope that the cover is your wedding picture where you have a long, skinny dick.
Yeah. How about it's maybe it's my dick wearing, anyway.
Say it.
So no.
Say it.
No.
Okay.
No. It's just my dick doing an impression of that Japanese guy.
We may see you next week.